joined by Chloe Webb, one of the stars from the win on Saturday. You smile, but it's true. I want you to take me through that whole thing. I want you to take me through first the huddle, because Coach T told me after the game, and I know you said after the game too, that she said, "Who wants it?" And she has three different players, and you were one of them. And you said, "I
Yeah.
do." Why did you say "I do"?
Well, first I was a little, hesitant, but then I seen how some of my teammates had confidence in me, so I just said I wanted it, and then she drew up the play. Um, it was a good play, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Got the ball and didn't see nothing but the basket, so yeah.
Any nerves going into it? I mean, it has to be a little bit of nerves, right? When you know a play is being designed for you, you come on the floor and you know you're getting the ball.
Mhm. I guess there were some, but at the same time, I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you make the shot and your teammates go nuts. So the play
Yeah.
itself, it got you in a pretty good position. You got it on the block and so
Mhm.
you're able to turn. That's got to be something comfortable for you, right? I mean, that's a perfect spot for you to turn around, because you seem to live pretty much in that paint area and dominate there.
Yeah. Um, she knew which three players were good at getting the ball and right around the paint area. And so, I mean, that's pretty much where I take most of my shots. So I wasn't, like too worried about not, being able to get the shot off or
Mhm.
being able to make it, because I know once Sophia came up to set the screen for me, it was just wide open with Danny with a great pass and just was able to make it.
I want you to tell me about your style of play, because it's interesting. When someone sees you, they wouldn't really anticipate a double-double threat, but that's exactly what you are. The rebounding, is that something that you've always been really good at? Because obviously you averaged about 20 and 10 in high school, because
Hmm.
your height, I mean, you're a guard, and normally you don't see guards that are averaging the amount of rebounds that you do. I mean, you've led the team in scoring and rebounding all the last three games. So is that something that you had even growing up playing basketball, where you always wanted to be a rebounder, or is it something that developed later on?
Mm, I wouldn't say like I would always like jump to being a rebounder or anything like that, but it's just something that really came naturally to me. Starting off in high school, I played mostly point guard and like up top, and so I don't know, just the feeling of going after and chasing the ball was just fun. It was just like a something I would just do as hustling in the game, um, and then in college it just carried on.
When did you start playing basketball?
At the age of 5.
Okay, so I'm assuming
Yeah,
it was one of those rec leagues that you started playing, and then it
at
carried
the
on through.
YMCA.
Yep.
Yeah.
So were you only playing basketball, or did you play other sports too?
I played other sports for fun, but basketball was just the main focus, I would say.
And when did you realize that that was something that you could do long term and play in college?
Um, I guess I would say around like middle school.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I mostly throughout elementary school, I knew that, just playing for fun at recess with all the other, boys at the school, I was probably like one of the only girls to play with them. And so just that carried on to elementary school and then to high school, now college.
How many guys did you embarrass out on the court?
I think there's too many to count.
See, there you go. People underestimate. That's awesome. So, what was your recruiting like? Because you're from the California area, you're from San Diego. So, what was it like? Because Irvine, obviously not very far from San Diego. Did you want to stay local, or was it just one of those things where UC Irvine turned out to be a good fit?
Um, I had other offers, but I guess when coming to Irvine and on my visit, the coaches were very welcoming. They showed me around the campus, and the teammates that were there were They were great. They were funny, enjoyable to be around. And so I think that's pretty much why I made my decision. And then the area of the school was just a bonus because I'm not too far from home, but I'm just far enough.
Yeah, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying. I went to school over at USC, so I'm from the San
Mhm.
Fernando Valley, so it's close, but
Mm,
you can come home on a Sunday, for example, to have dinner,
right.
but it's also far enough where you don't have
Yeah.
family all over you. So I get that. What other school was the closest, would you say, to being the one that you went to outside of UC Irvine?
Um, I'll pretty much say Irvine was my
Okay,
top.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, the other ones I had the Pacific, and then hometown San Diego State also.
So I want you to take me back to last year because you started to really hit your stride, and then all of a sudden you had to be sidelined for the rest of the season once Big West play
Yeah.
started. What was that like to be sitting on the sidelines when, of course, you're a competitor and you wanted to play?
Um, well, I feel like it was probably one of the only times I was ever to sit out of a season for me,
Hmm.
because I'm always playing year round, nonstop, back to elementary school days, 3 or 4 games a day, and not being able to play and sitting on the bench was just not fun. But it also gave me a chance to, I would say, observe and uh, kind of learn more because I was a freshman too,
Mhm.
um, and so it was giving me a chance to understand how the game was played at this level, and just to be able to watch it was, I guess, good for me.
I'm sure you wanted to be out there, but that learning and being
Oh
able
yeah.
to sit on the sidelines and kind of observe, and now you're able to take on a role where you're able to start and contribute as a redshirt freshman. So
Hmm.
now, do you feel like you are leaps and bounds ahead of where you were coming into Big West play this year than you were last year? Because you didn't play obviously a ton last year, but
Mm-mm.
the experience of sitting on the bench and then being able to just contribute right away, they had to have been able to help.
Yeah, I think that coming from last year, it definitely helped me going into being able to play this conference this year.
I got to ask you about your uncle because, of course, when you look at the game notes, it says your uncle's Hall of Famer Terrell Davis, and I saw him at the game at CSUN last year. What have you learned from him about being a pro athlete and just being an athlete in general?
Um, I think one thing is that nothing comes easy. You always have to work at your craft and just work hard to get to where you want to be at. He's been through a lot of different injuries and different sufferings, and he's just been able to strive through that and to where he is now, Hall of Famer. Just shows how hard he worked, and I think he was the sixth round pick,
Mhm.
and just showed people that he's more than just that.
Are there any other athletes in your family?
Um, yeah, I would say pretty much most of my family are athletes. My grandma, I know she and her sisters, they all played in Oklahoma, and they won a couple state championships back to back. So I think that's where I would get my talents from.
So you're from San Diego. The Chargers left to come to LA. Your
Mm.
uncle is a former Bronco. Where's your allegiance, or do you not care about the NFL at all?
Um, I would say it's more with the Broncos, just because he played there. Yeah.
All right, and final question for you. Quarantine, you spent a lot of time inside over the last several months. The best show that you've binged over the last probably 10 months or so.
Um.
There've been a lot. There's been Tiger King, there's been Love is Blind, I mean Love is Blind seemed like ages ago, and so same with Tiger King.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot. If you had to choose one,
I would say Love Island.
Love Island. Okay, the
Yeah,
UK version or the US version?
the UK version. Yeah,
Okay, okay. And
I
it's
watched
actually
like
I know exactly what you're talking about. I watched the
yeah,
US version. I didn't watch the UK version. Did
yeah,
you watch the US one or no?
yeah. I watched it. Yeah, it wasn't. It was good, but I like the UK version mostly because the accents and yeah.
There you go. Chloe, I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.